Sir, the first budget of this decade may well go down in history as the budget which finally puts India into a double-digit growth trajectory. This will be remembered as the budget which will lay the foundations of a new India, which, unshackled and unbound, will go on to create prosperity for 1 billion Indians. Sir, this budget makes the highest allocation ever made in the history of independent India towards infrastructure development and capital asset creation. The budget promises to create the 21st century infrastructure needed for New India. This budget has made the highest allocation ever to the health and well-being of Indians. New India will not only be the youngest nation of the world, but this budget promises to make it the healthiest nation as well. Sir, this budget has also increased funds to buy new equipment and aid the military's modernization by a whopping 19%, the highest capital outlay for for defense modernization in the last 15 years. This new India budget promises to make our armed men and women more efficient and capable. So the push for digital payments, digital census, hydrogen fuel research, support to the National Research Foundation, space exploration, and such other measures in this budget will make New India a leader in frontier technologies and future ready. Most importantly, sir, all of this is achieved in this budget without increasing any direct tax to any Indian taxpayer. For this reason alone, the Honorable Prime Minister and the Finance Minister must be congratulated. Sir, many commentators of the political economy have often commented that good economics makes for bad politics. We have heard this quite often. But this time around, Prime Minister and the Finance Minister have shown that good intentioned politics ought to make good economics. Sir, this budget was presented in truly extraordinary times. A once-in-a-century pandemic tested the resilience of our human spirit, the strength of our institutions, and the conviction of our leadership. It's a tribute to the inherent vitality of this ancient civilization that despite these tall challenges, we have emerged only stronger. Sir, the way our country has handled the COVID pandemic is a testimony to the character, the strength of the character of 1 billion Indians. However, like always, many friends both inside as well as outside the country did not believe in India's capacity. Like always, they did not hide their contempt as well. A cursory look at some of the headlines from a few prominent publications is revealing, sir. Modi's poorly planned lockdown won't save us from coronavirus, but will kill economy, shouted one publication. The New York Times said, even before, just a couple of days into the lockdown, the New York Times headline shouted, how Modi has failed the pandemic test. Another author wrote why COVID-19 pandemic in India is similar to sinking of the Titanic. Sir, one left-wing ideologue, a senior former parliamentarian, also ingeniously saw some communalism angle also like they always do. He wrote an article titled, The Hindu Right Wing Has Communalized COVID-19. So while these were the headlines, what were the result? Sir, today, the Indian model of handling COVID-19 is considered to be one of the best models in the world. Let me just state a few numbers which will demonstrate this. Sir, India today has the lowest death per million population in the top 25 countries with the maximum number of cases. India is amongst the lowest countries having the lowest case fatality rate of 1.4% compared to the global CFR of 2.1%. Sir, India today is the second highest, is the country with to have conducted the second highest number of tests of more than 20 crore 25 lakh. Even as wealthier countries, sir, like Netherlands, is even today struggling to convince its people to abide by lockdown rules. India prevented more than 35 lakh additional infections and more than 1 lakh death because of successful and timely implementation of the lockdown. Sir, India's economic stimulus value in dollar terms given during the lockdown, amounting to about 13% of our GDP, is more than the collective GDP, is more than GDP of about 149 countries. From wholly dependent on PPE and N95 mask imports to building capacity to not only service our domestic demand, but to export it in a matter of 3 months is no mean feat. The only country to have done this today is India. So we have the distinction of repatriating the largest number of our stranded citizens from the highest number of countries during the global lockdown. So one of the few countries that have indigenously developed and manufactured COVID vaccine is India. So countries manufacturing the largest number of vaccines as we speak, earning the goodwill as the vaccine capital of the world. So we have distributed vaccines, supplied vaccines to 15 countries, from Burma to Barbados, and 25 more countries are in queue at different levels. So we are also the fastest country in the world to reach the 4 million COVID vaccine mark, an incredible feat in a country as diverse and as vast as ours. So at this time, I also want to congratulate the Finance Minister for giving 35,000 crores towards vaccine distribution, towards vaccine development in this budget. So in the course of the remarks, Dayanidhi Maranji very sarcastically expressed doubts on the credibility of the vaccine. He asked, why is the Prime Minister not the first person to take the vaccine? So perhaps if this was old India, the politicians would have been the first people to take the vaccine, sir. This is the new India where the frontline workers, our doctors, our Safai Karamcharis, these people are being given importance, sir. So perhaps if this was old India, maybe the family of Dayanidhi Maranji, his grandmother, grandfather, Stalinji, Udaynidhiji, all of them, maybe they would be the first people to take vaccines, sir. This is new India. Therefore, we are not allowing politicians to take any privileges out of turn. The ones who are fighting for this country, the ones who are frontline workers, they will be prioritized in giving the vaccine, sir. Sir, at the same time, sir, I would also want to say, sir, a big question that needs to be answered today, sir. So even in the face of such difficult challenges, if a country has shown the kind of strength, resilience to stand up to these challenges, if we are so blessed with such immense natural and human resources, so what kept the country so spectacularly poor for so long? Why did India, rather how did India manage to remain so poor for so long? So the answer to this question is very simple. India did not remain poor by chance. India remained poor by choice. So India did not remain poor by default. We remained poor by design. We remained poor by policy. So the most potent condemnation of this ingenuity of our erstwhile policymakers, of deliberately perpetuating poverty as a state policy, comes from the most eminent lawyer, Nani Palkhiwala. Sir, speaking in 1990, on the occasion of India's 43rd independence year, he remarked, and I quote, "The Economist rightly remarked in January 1987 that socialism as practiced in India had been a fraud. Our brand of socialism did not result in transfer of wealth from the rich to the poor, but only from the honest rich to the dishonest rich. We built up state-owned enterprises called the public sector in India. The sleeping sickness of socialism is now universally acknowledged, but not officially in India. No fewer than 231 public sector enterprises are run by the union government and 636 by the state governments. These public sector enterprises are the black holes, the money guzzlers, and they have been extracting an exorbitant price for India's doctrinaire socialism. There is a tidal wave of privatization sweeping across the world from Bangladesh to Brazil, but it has turned aside in its course and passed India by. The most persistent tendency in India has been to have too much government and too little administration, too many laws and too little justice, too many public servants and too little public service, Too many controls, but too little welfare. Every segment of the people's enterprise is festooned with red tape. From the very first decade of the Republic, the steel claws of the license permit quota Raj were laid upon the national economy, and even today, their grip continues with insignificant relaxation. Sir, the quote ends here. So the one-point focus of our Prime Minister from the first minute in office has been to reverse this perverse ideology of perpetuating and distributing poverty and ushering in growth and prosperity for all Indians. Towards that end, sir, this government has embarked on a root and branch reform transformation of India's political economy. From sanitation to space exploration, from coal to new generation fuels, from agriculture to artificial intelligence, from soil to oil, employment to education, solar energy to diesel deregulation, aviation to railways, the Modi government has positively transformed every aspect of India's life. Sir, our government, even in this budget, has continued the pace of reforms in a very furious manner towards the larger ideal, the larger promise of the Prime Minister of maximum governance and maximum governance and minimum government. Sir, even traditionally, India had always frowned upon the practice of government being in business. The popular Hindi idiom, Raja Vyapari, To Praja Bhikari, was a clear indication. This budget, sir, for the first time, uses the word privatization, is unapologetic about the fast-paced disinvestment and asset monetization. It was high time, sir, that our government stopped the disastrous socialist practice of putting good taxpayer money into badly run government businesses. Sir, this country, especially the young generation of Indians that I so proudly represent here, sir, is extremely grateful to our Prime Minister for stopping this very wrong practice and charting a new economic course of prosperity for this country, sir. We needed this badly. We should have done this 70 years ago. We are belated, but this Prime Minister has achieved this for us. Sir, a lot of talk has been going on family silver. I want to ask the opposition, sir, especially the Congress party, if you consider our badly performing PSUs as family silver and are so hesitant to disinvest them, why were you so eager to sell Temple gold in 2013 when you decided, or rather reviewed a policy towards asking how much golds are there in our temple so as to monetize it, sir? Sir, even our most vile opponents cannot accuse our government on going slow on reforms. So this is a government that gets things done. This is the most reformist government in the history of India. A small example of the reforms. I'm not giving an exhaustive list. Sir, deregulation of diesel was a long pending reform. We did it. Commercial coal mining reform, pending from the 17th, done. FDI in defense, long pending, done. FDI in insurance, long pending, done. Real estate sector reforms, pending from 2 decades, done. IBC code, pending from 1 decade, completed and done. GST, the biggest tax reform of independent India, done. Labor reforms, pending from 4 decades, done. Review of the code on wages, pending from 4 decades, done. FDI in railway operations, pending from God knows how long, done. Corporate tax rate, making India one of the most competitive destinations in the world, done. Faceless assessments, faceless appellate tribunals, pre-filled returns, all making the life of a taxpayer easy, done. Recapitalizing our public sector banks, done. Reforming our public sector bank administration is done. Forming global scale public sector banks, done. Change in definition of MSMEs, enabling them to grow and get more capital, pending from more than 2 decades, done. Lowering the tax rates, increasing the tax base, done. National education policy, pending from last 4 decades, done. So this is a government that gets things done. Our Prime Minister is therefore known as the man who gets things done, sir. Therefore, the common Indian says, Modi hai to mumkin hai. That's the strength of this government, sir. Sir, what has all these reforms achieved for the country? Sir, India has improved its ease of doing business ranking by 79 positions in the last 5 years. In the recent World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report, the country jumped to 63rd position among 190 nations. India also figured among the top 10 performers on the list for the third time in a row. I would want to rather pause a moment here and ask, sir, these ease of doing business, these jumps in this, the growth of the GDP, double-digit trajectory, reforms, what does all of this mean to a common poor Indian unless it gives him 2 square meals a day and raises his standard of living? What have these reforms achieved in that regard? Sir, as a result of all of these reforms, the size of the economic pie has increased and has empowered the government to lift a large number of people out of poverty. Sir, it gives me immense joy and pride today, sir, to stand here and say that under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India has lifted the highest number of Indians out of poverty in the shortest period of time. And as a result of this, from 2019 onwards, India is no longer the country having the most number of poor people, sir. I want to tell my Congress friends, remind them, this is how Garibi Hatao is done, not by sloganeering, through a dedicated perseverance and hard work. We have lifted, sir, I would repeat again, we have lifted, sir, the highest number of poor people in India out of poverty in the shortest period of time. For this reason, Narendra Modi is considered the messiah of the poor people in India. Sir, for a long time, inane and meaningless debates have gone on in this country for a very long time, sir, on pitching growth against distribution, what should be the right economic ideology. Sir, pro-welfare in microeconomics and pro-market in macroeconomics. This has been the hallmark of Narendra Modi's style of economy. A third way, a unique model of economic development that the world is very keen to follow. Sir, while we are here, I would also want to dwell a couple of minutes on how difficult pushing all of these reforms have been. Take the farmer reforms, for example, sir. So from the time I have been in school, and people of my generation, all of us have read in our textbooks, sir, that the Indian farmer is subject to the vagaries of monsoon. They're exploited by bloodthirsty money lenders, that they have very little small land holdings. My elder brother studied it, I studied it, and my younger cousin is also studying it today. Neither did the fate of the farmer nor the textbook material both change in the last so many years. Sir, in the name of the farmer, however, lot of self-styled farmer leaders enrich themselves, while the farmer was in a perpetual vicious cycle of debt, poverty, loan, and the only escape route out of it was suicide. This was the desperate situation to which we had pushed the farmers of this country. Sir, like the term secularism, protecting farmers' interest is one of the most abused words in this country, sir, which has stalled all progressive farm reforms which would have otherwise benefited the farmer. Sir, what has been the political shortcut for farmer welfare? To announce loan waivers once in 5 years during elections and forget about the farmer for the next 5 years until the next elections. This has been the exact practice. But we are a government that is neither irresponsible nor believes in taking shortcuts. Sir, while the opposition invested in protests, we invested in the Indian farmer. While they were busy running that India is intolerant, we issued 22.41 crore soil health cards to our farmers. While the opposition was preoccupied in Shaheen Bagh, we built 10.75 crore toilets for the poor of India in villages from 2014, sir. While the opposition was lost in the Tukde protests in JNU and AMU, we ensured that no person in the country, no villager in the country, no farmer in the country will remain in dark, and we ensured 100% electrification of India's villages. While the opposition was busy name-calling Modi ji as agent of Ambani Adani, we opened bank accounts of 41.75 crore poorest of poor Indians through the PM Jan Dhan Yojana and seeded it with the Aadhaar and mobile phones. While the opposition was busy blocking roads with Rasta Rokos and Chakka jams, we sanctioned 2.11 lakh kilometer of road connectivity for villages under the Prime Minister Gram Sadak Yojana since 2014. While the opposition was busy lying to farmers about farm reforms that would actually and indeed benefit the farmer, we gave assistance of rupees 6,000 crore to 11.58 crore farmers under the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, sir. While the opposition was busy sharing Rihanna's tweet and Greta Thunberg's toolkit for how to create riots, we completed giving crop insurance under the Fasal Bima Yojana to 8.85 crore farmers of this country, sir. So this is how farmer development is done. This is how farmer infrastructure is created. And this is how the trust of farmers is earned. Sir, what exactly that the farmer reforms propose to do? In essence, it gives our farmer the choice to either sell at the APMC Mandi or anywhere else to whomsoever he deems fit, or whosoever gives him the best price. It neither removes the APMC nor compels the farmer to a particular entity. What can possibly wrong in giving our farmers choice? Sir, I wanted to ask Rahul ji. Of course, he does not have the habit of attending parliament, sir, but through you, I want to make this request. Sir, I want to ask Rahul ji. While Rahul ji must have the choice to contest from Wayanad in Kerala, because he thought that he had better chances of winning from Kerala than in his home constituency of Amethi. Why should the farmer in Amethi why should the farmer of Amethi not have the choice to sell in Kerala if he thinks that he gets better choice, better price? Sir, this giving of choice, this empowering the farmer, Indian farmer with choice to sell where he wants cannot be in any measure deemed to be anti-farmer, sir. Sir, this budget rightly focuses on agricultural infrastructure.
Tejasvi, just I want to correct it. Rahulji is regularly attending the parliament session.
Glad to know that, sir. Well, we will check the attendance later, sir. This budget focuses on agricultural infrastructure, agricultural development cess, which is going to be used for development of this infrastructure. Sir, there are two other important areas that this budget has highlighted upon. Sir, this budget promises to create the 21st century infrastructure for India, the highest ever capital expenditure made in any budget till now. Sir, my government, under the Prime Minister, has built 1/3 of all national highways in India in just the last 6 years. How the space at which we have been building infrastructure, sir, is unprecedented. The outlay for the Ministry of Road Transport is enhanced in this budget to rupees 1.18 lakh crore, sir. In the same way, sir, I want to congratulate Railways. The Honorable Minister for Railways is here, sir. Under his leadership, India has achieved a 371% increase of electrification while compared to UPA, sir. 371% increase of electrification compared to the UPA years. Sir, by 2024, all of Indian railways will be set to be 100% electrified, leading to fuel savings of about 14,500 crore per annum. Sir, our trains have become faster, safer, and more punctual under the Prime Minister's leadership. The National Rail Plan for India 2030, projected in the budget, supported in the budget, will bring our trains on par with the best in the world. Sir, this budget has also stressed and given importance to creating urban metro rail. So I come from an urban constituency and know how important urban infrastructure, transport infrastructure is. Sir, as a country, traditionally, we have grossly underinvested in creation of urban infrastructure. One point on this while we are here, sir. While the London Underground was started in 1863, the New York subway was started in 1904. The Moscow metro began its operations in 1935. We were irresponsibly and cruelly late, sir, by almost 100 to 70 years. We have made a course correction now, and even in this budget, a large outlay has been sanctioned to creation of urban infrastructure. I thank personally, sir, the Honorable Finance Minister for sanctioning rupees 15,000 crores to Bengaluru Metro Airport line, starting from my constituency in Silk Board to the metro, sir. Any Bangalorean will know what a difficult journey it is to reach the airport, sir. The metro line will definitely help us in that regard. So the Metro Light and the Metro Neo projects, especially to be introduced in tier 2 cities, will ensure that what mistake we did 70 years ago by not investing adequately in urban infrastructure will not be created for a future India. Sir, the 18,000 crore support to public bus transport services by encouraging more PPP modes of private sector players in urban public bus transport is also very, very important step in that regard, sir. Sir, this government has utilized tech infrastructure, digital infrastructure as the backbone for good governance. This has been one of the hallmarks of this administration. Sir, the direct benefit transfer scheme brings together 318 schemes of the government from 53 ministries. In the last so many years, sir, more than 13.91 lakh crore, 13.91 lakh crore, which is about the size of the annual budget of various state governments, has been effectively transferred to the people of this country through the DBT. Sir, we have not only distributed effectively, we have also saved close to 1.78 lakh crore by preventing leakages, sir. This is a government that values taxpayer money. Sir, UPI, by building the India Stack platform, India has shown how the DBT can be the most effective way of ensuring that the poorest man reaches, the government reaches the poorest man, the proverbial last man in the line. Seeing the digital prowess of this UPI, sir, even Google wrote to United States Federal Reserve asking to design a UPI-like payment system for the United States. So whether it is FASTag, whether it is National Digital Health Mission, whether it is the 1,500 crore earmarked in this budget for further encouraging digital payments, the digital census that India will be conducting, thanks to the allocation in this budget, is extremely important steps towards building our tech infrastructure and making governance more effective by using the digital infrastructure. So equally important in this budget is the mention of the National Language Translation Mission. It will make governance and policy related knowledge available on internet in major Indian languages. Sir, coming from a state of southern India, I can't stress how important this is in bringing government communication closer to our people, sir. Sir, the other very important structural reform, using a digital platform that has been proposed in this budget, which will have wide-ranging ramifications on a rural economy, is the Swamitwa project aimed at digitizing rural land records. Sir, this scheme will provide digital property cards to our rural citizens. This will go a long way in helping them financializing their assets as well as reducing chances of disputes and distress. So the Peruvian economist Hernando de Soto, in his celebrated work, The Mystery of Capital, states that developing nations must recognize and protect the property that poor people have created, but which is currently of uncertain legal validity, and thus is of little use in securing the loans necessary to invest in personal or business development. Giving them proper legal titles will mobilize the entrepreneurial vigor and the hidden wealth of the poor. Sir, seen in this light, the reforms under the Swamitwa Yojana, by giving digital recognition of property titles, will play a very, very important role, sir. Sir, just one very important issue before I conclude, sir. I come from the startup capital of the country, Bengaluru, and this budget has given adequate stress and thrust to the startups of the country. Sir, from abolishing and resolving the issue of angel tax, to setting up of commercial courts, to enabling direct listing of Indian companies on foreign exchange, or the Startup India program, the Prime Minister has supported Indian startups. Sir, the budget this time mentions that one-person companies will operate without restrictions. This is going to create a great amount of jobs by enabling more young people to incorporate companies easily, test their business ideas, scale them up, and employ more people. Sir, the National Research Foundation has been allocated 50,000 crore rupees, sir. Any country, especially in a modern economy today, if it has to progress, has to make advances in technology. And in that direction, sir, the National Research Foundation grant is extremely important. Sir, this budget is futuristic also because this budget speaks of and gives support to green energy, sustainable growth, and energy security. Sir, it is a matter of great pride for India today that of the 5 largest solar power plants in the world, 4 are in India today. We have taken the leadership in the world today by starting International Solar Alliance. This budget further gives boost to non-conventional energy sector by additional capital infusion of 1,000 crores. Sir, I will not take more than 2 minutes, sir. I am just coming to my conclusion, sir. This budget, sir, this budget also promises a hydrogen mission. I will just take 30 seconds to explain why this has important national ramifications, not only for today, sir, but for very many millions of young Indians who are not even born today. Sir, a lot of people are excited about the possibilities of electric mobility in India. But we can and we should explore other routes of zero emissions, like for the example of a hydrogen fuel cell. So today, nearly 65% of lithium-ion batteries come only from China. 65% of all lithium-ion batteries in the world today come only from one source, sir, that is China. By comparison, no single country produces more than 20% of global crude oil output. In this regard too, sir, the thrust on hydrogen mission is good for the country's energy security. This budget also shows that we are sensitive and a responsive budget. Sir, whether it is bringing under the fold of the labor law reforms the new employees of the gig economy, or the reforms made to one nation card, or the amendment made to the Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Act so that the investors can have time-bound access to their deposit to the extent of the deposit insurance, are all in the direction of making showing that is a more sensitive and a more extremely caring government, sir. Sir, you also come from the south of India, like I do. So what has this budget given to the south of India? One of the highlights of this budget has been the equitable distribution in terms of priorities, sir. Sir, I would want to take the case of Kerala, sir, from where you belong. Sir, Kerala, in this budget, has got 1.33 lakh crore. Tamil Nadu has got 2.9 lakh crore. Telangana has got 79,000 crore. Sir, and Karnataka, sir, my state has got 83,000 crore. Sorry, 1.76 lakh crore. Sir, all of these states have got the highest allocation of budget compared to any of the previous budgets, sir. Sir, I would just want to conclude, sir, by understanding the importance of the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our Prime Minister has given a clarion call for building a self-reliant India. The spiritual and philosophical underpinning of Atmanirbharta can be found in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells us, Uddhared Atmanatmanam Atmanam Avasadayed Atmaiva Atmano Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Our rise is the result of our actions. Our fall is the result of our actions. We are our own friend. We are our own enemy. We are the makers of our own destiny, sir. Sir, together, let us build a prosperous India and let us make a self-reliant India, which is the hallmark of India's new generation. I once again thank the Honorable Finance Minister and our dynamic Prime Minister for this forward-looking, futuristic budget, which will secure the future of New India. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Tejasvi.